Hello, Barb.
Hello, Cynthia. Good morning.
Good morning. We're here to introduce the beginning of our episode 83 of Podcast On. And we're coming to you from our homes. Barb, you look particularly cozy.
I am. I put a sweater on today. I'm in my home studio down in my basement, and it's winter now, so the air conditioning's turned off, and it's really nice down here. I'm enjoying it. I can wear a wool sweater um, and still be comfy.
That's good. And we're back. The last podcast episode we did, we were also back. We had come back from Knit City, Vancouver, and we were both sick.
I
And so
know.
this time we've come back from Colorado, and I'm happy to report to everyone that, yeah, knock wood, so far so good. We're both healthy. So that's been good. We took some precautions on the plane and wore the big mask this time.
Yes, and it truly helped, didn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, exactly. So we've got some great footage for everyone from our visit to Colorado, and also we had a really nice chat. It's a lengthier chat, let's say, with the lovely and talented Sarah Schira. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that are happening here with us at Yarniversity, some of the upcoming classes that are coming up. But we want you to stay on because we have a really wonderful discussion with Sarah Schira coming up about gnomes. And Barb, I know you're a gnome. That is adorable. Let me give you the whole spotlight for that. Tell us.
Hello. Yeah, this is one of Sarah's gnomes. Now, I do my gnomes in worsted weight wool most of the time. I know a lot of you use fingering, but this little guy is from the Choose Your Gnome Adventure that Sarah put out some time ago, and I love putting little pockets on them. His little arm fits in there so nice, and he's also holding a cup of coffee.
That is adorable, Barb. Is that a little button? The coffee?
Yes, yeah, it's a little coffee button.
What a great idea.
I
I
love.
heart coffee.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to her coming because she's going to do something sort of holiday related too, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Sarah's she's teaching a class for us called No Fun Like Gnome Fun on November 25th, but we'll let her tell you about that. And then she's also going to talk about her upcoming MKAL. It feels like every year Sarah does a mystery gnome knit along for the month of December. And every day you get, a little clue about what you're knitting, or maybe it's a recipe, or we're going to let her tell you about that as well. But Barb, I have to tell you, I signed up.
Good for you. I always sign up to Sarah's. They are so much fun, and I love the fact that she puts in this story. She's such a great writer. I think
Yeah,
there might be storybooks in her future.
exactly. And you know what? I think that's why I don't normally sign up for mystery knit-alongs. I'm not one of those. I,
Hmm,
I'm one of those people who doesn't like the mystery knit-along because I want to know what the end product is before I
right.
start. But Sarah's mystery knit along is different because it's not just about knitting, right? It's about the story that's evolving and the little recipes that are in there. So I'm quite excited about this one. So this one's called Snow Matter What. And again, we'll let Sarah tell you about that and signups. We'll put links to everything down in the show notes below. So we'll put a link into the Ravelry sign up for that if you like.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to sign up too. I think I gave away my sort of Christmas related gnome, so I'm anxious to make another one.
Perfect. And then so we went away. We
Mhm.
went to Colorado. Do you want to talk about that, Barb, just a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. Well, our trip to Colorado was to attend a class with Ann Budd, and we attended a class on designing your own sweater. And so I made mine. It's back here. It's almost done. I did it on my machine, and I'm really happy with it. It was a great learning. It hasn't turned out, and so I'm going to go back to my group and get some help and support on how I could have made it differently to have it fit me properly. But it's done, and then while we were in Colorado, we took a little detour and we went and spent some time with our friend Gail from Longmont Yarn Shoppe. Oh my gosh, I think truly, Cynthia, that was the highlight of the trip.
We had a lot of fun. In fact, I'm wearing my T-shirt from Gail's shop. Let's get crafty.
Nice. Don't they fit great?
Yeah. It's so nice, right, to buy a T-shirt with women's sizing.
I know.
The fit is, this T-shirt is, it's a plus size, but it's not coming down to my knees, which is truly nice.
Yes. So, and that was back to Anne. That was what the whole class was about. It's how do I make a sweater that, fits me perfectly? So
Right.
I've got one of those T-shirts too. I'm going to measure mine and see where my sweater's off.
And we should mention that this class that we're doing with Ann Budd is also with another instructor named Jean DeCoster. So they've partnered up together to create a sweater design class. And we felt it was important to invest in our professional development as well. We want to practice what we preach, right? And we're doing classes all the time. We're moderating and hosting classes. We're teaching classes, but we also need to invest in our own learning. And so it's been a really good exercise, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we've always done that, right? We've always taken classes. But this one, I think that for me, that's kind of one of the biggest investments in time is a sweater and money. And so you want it to fit. And I don't want to be afraid of sweaters anymore. So that's another reason why I took Anne's class, and I'm really happy I did.
Perfect. We're also going to be teaching this month, and we wanted to let you know a little bit about the classes that are coming up that Barb and I are teaching. We are privileged and honored to be teaching at Rowan Connect on November 17th, 18th, and 19th. And we're going to be teaching 3 classes, and we're going to be team teaching these classes. And I think this is really nice, Barb. I think you and I can support each other's experience and advice really well. So let's start off with what you're going to be teaching on November 17th.
Okay. Kate Atherley is a teacher for us, and she's also designed some of our patterns, and she's designed this one. It's really popular. It's called the Thrummish Hat. And this is a hat that's so nice if you have a colder climate. It's double lined, and it's unlike the traditional thrummed mittens or hats or socks, if you've ever made those with wool roving. This one's faster because instead of the wool roving, you take a chunky yarn like Rowan Big Wool and you hold it behind and create your second layer that way. And there's a special way to knit it so that your thrums kind of turn into little V's. I'm going to show you that in the class. And this is a special modification from our hat pattern for a baby size, something small that we can complete in a couple of hours. And yeah, pom-poms, just an add-on. They make a lot of fun, and I think they're great for little people.
I think that's going to be adorable, Barb. Totally adorable. Yeah. And then the next day, on the 18th, I'm going to be teaching a class with your help on simultaneous socks. So we're going to work 2 socks at the same time on either 2 circulars or 1 long circular to do magic loop. And I've been making lots of sample socks. So this is a pair of simultaneous socks done in Rowan pure wool. In class, we're gonna make tiny socks.
Oh my gosh, those are so cute.
Baby socks. As you can see, I've been making tons and tons of these little
Yes.
socks to
All with pure wool. Are they all
all with
done?
Rowan pure wool. Yes.
Great.
Um, so the class will cast on a pair of small socks in class, and that way you'll be able to work through all the components of two socks at the same time. But included in your workshop handout will be a recipe for working larger socks like these ones in Rowan pure wool, but also a pair of finer weight socks. We've been playing around with Rowan sock yarn, and so we've included a pattern for doing 3 different sizes, kind of like a youth, women's, men's kind of size, simultaneously using a fingering weight yarn as well.
So everyone's going to get those patterns as well, Cynthia, as the
Yeah.
class and instruction on how to set up the needles, how to orientate your stitches, because that's really, I think, the hardest part, is it not?
It is. It's getting started, right? Because casting on it doesn't matter what your project is, casting on is always a fiddly affair. So casting on 2 at a time is tricky. And then working around the heel is a little bit of you have to get your needles oriented the right way. So
Mhm.
we'll be spending lots of time on that. And then what can you knit simultaneously and what can't you knit simultaneously? Like there is a place on a sock where you need to just work one at a time. They're still on the needles, but anyway, we're going to go through all of that. And then the
Great.
next day, we're going to tackle one of the topics that is scary, and that's cutting your knitting. So we're going to do a steeking class on Sunday, November 19th with Rowan Connect. And in this one, we're going to do a steeked tea cozy. So we're going to take
How
um,
British.
we're going to take a tea cozy that looks like this, and we're going to cut holes in it and put in a little button band and some arms for the spout and for the handle. And we're going to cut our knitting.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. And everyone's going to get this tea cozy pattern too, right?
Yeah.
You've been spending so much time working this through. It's going to be such a wonderful experience for people. I'm really excited to be doing it with you.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's gonna be fun, but don't worry, friends. If you don't have time to knit up, the homework, don't worry about it. Just bring a
No,
swatch to class and we'll help you cut your swatch in half and you'll get the idea. Plus, with the rowing classes, they're recording them and you'll have access to the recordings for 2 weeks after the live event.
plus you'll still have us, right?
Mhm.
We're always here to help out, just an email away.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah. So we've been really super busy preparing for these classes because normally we wouldn't teach 3 classes in 1 month, right? We'd have other people teach classes, and so we've had to do a lot of prep, which means that I haven't had much time to do anything else. My sweater from Ann Budd and Jean DeCoster's class is still a swatch,
But
but I'll get there.
you do have swatches you could show us, right?
I do. It's in a crinkly plastic bag. So I'm going to hold off. And
Okay.
next podcast, I think I'll have something better to show you.
Okay.
But in terms of time, not only are we've been super busy preparing for these classes and traveling to Colorado and, putting together podcasts and everything else. And yet we still kind of need to think about, gift knitting. Don't you think? Have you been doing any gift knitting, Barb?
Well, I have, and I've tried to combine my love of machine knitting and my love of teaching classes. I just did a lace class to make some hand warmers, and I'm gifting out hand warmers to a lot of the people on my gift list. You want to see them?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Sure. Well, this is my first one. This is what the class was based on. And
Oh,
this is a little pattern that Cynthia and I have had in our shop for many years. It's called Queen Vicky's Wristlets. And this is a hand knit pattern. It's just a real simple one that we used to use to teach classes from. You would knit a piece of flat knitting and then seam it up the side, leaving a hole for your thumb. And on one half, you've got a beautiful stockinette lace chart. And the other half is just plain stockinette with a little band at the top and the bottom. So I've converted the pattern into a machine knit chart so that you can do it on your machine a little faster. And it's been really fun. I taught a class on that last weekend, and I think these will make great gifts. I've got a couple. These are some of my prototypes where I tried different things on the lace patterns just to, as I was writing it and developing it. This one's a little bit more lacy than the original.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried some with variegated self-striping yarn. This is from our friends at Gauge Dye Works.
Oh, that's so cute, Barb.
Isn't this fun?
Yeah. I love the way that lace pattern kind of disrupts the stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet you can still see it, right?
You sure can. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I did a pair with just using my transfer tool from my machine. This is taking and transferring stitches left and then right. Just another sort of riff on
Right.
Queen Bee's pattern. And these ones here are my work in progress. I just got these off the machine last night. They only took me about an hour to make. And so I'm going to pop these in the bath. And these ones have a rolled cuff. That's why they were so fast to make. Normally, I hand knit the bottom and then hang those stitches on my machine to knit the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And then knit it off and hand knit the top. I just like that garter stitch top, but I thought I'll try a pair with a rolled cuff, and I like how they turned out too.
Yeah.
Blocked. I think they'll look really nice.
Oh, that's really pretty, Barb. Yeah. And I think you had shown me earlier another kind of gift idea that you made up. A cowl, maybe?
Oh, yes, that's next month. I'm working on the pattern instructions, machine pattern instructions for that one. But this is a form of, this is done out of mohair, a gradient that I had in my stash, and it changed colors as you were working with it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've been playing with what's called diagonal knitting where you kind of turn it on its side, it biases.
Right.
Then the edges don't curl when you bias something, which I've been.
So you did this on your machine as well, Barb?
Mhm.
Okay. And this one is called the mohair bias loop, I think.
Correct. It's a pattern that you can buy from Church Mouse Yarns and Tees.
Yeah.
If you want to hand knit it.
Yeah.
And it's a great pattern to make. It teaches you not only a diagonal piece of fabric, how to do that, but how to Kitchener graft the two ends together so you get this loop.
That's really pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also have something to share that is holiday knitting.
Great.
But I didn't knit it. Our friend Pat knit these for us. These are Heavenly Mittens. This is a pattern that Anne Budd wrote for us. And these Heavenly Mittens are made with a brand new kit from our friends at Handmaiden. So this is 3 yarns. There's a angel hair, a mohair that is held together with Eden. They're selling our Eden yarn. And then the liner inside is made with a really lovely alpaca merino fingering weight yarn. These mittens are so cozy because of the lining, but also because of that mohair Eden blend. They are as thick as, oh, well, yeah, they're probably as thick as oven mitts. They're going to keep you really warm, but but the yarn is just gorgeous. So we'll put a link into the show notes down below. If you would like to purchase a kit from Handmaiden, they have the bundles of yarn and the pattern to go along with it. So it's really nice. Pat did a lovely job on these mittens, and now that they're done, I might just, they might just end up on my shelf.
Oh, and so they should. Cynthia, I have Pat's first pair of mittens that she made out of Eden, and I think she used kid silk haze and another Rowan yarn on the inside, but it's been discontinued. And I have to share with you, those mittens are so warm. I love them, and the mohair keeps them looking so beautiful on the outside. I've worn them for probably 2 years now,
Yeah.
and they're just as nice as they started out being.
Yeah, this is the beauty of, working with really good quality materials. And, perhaps taking care of them as well. And a little hand washing every now and then never hurt anything.
Yeah,
But
that's
this was really nice. When we closed the retail shop, we kind of lost our in-house yarns, right? Well, we didn't lose them, but we have other people creating them for us or for you. And so Eden and Adam and Eve, which were our two yarns that we got from Handmaiden, are being carried by Handmaiden. And so they have Eden and they have Casbah, which is the base that they used for our Adam and Eve lines. And so we're really happy that they're putting together these kits and using the patterns that we developed to go along with them to continue to carry out those projects and those lines that we love.
yeah. And I just want to say, I'm so grateful that Handmaiden has taken Adam and Eve and Eden back into their fold, because now when we shop for yarn, you can buy those yarns and they'll even do custom colorways like we had, but you also get to try all the other yarns that they've got. And one of our friends is doing vest, the Rutherford vest out of fliss and their angel hair mohair. And so you can pick up other kind of qualities of yarn qualities from them and make all sorts of beautiful things.
And speaking of, the dyers carrying the yarns that we had as exclusive yarns, our friends at Ancient Arts, Carolyn and Dan, have come out with the hat trick and touchdown lines as well. And we're really thrilled about that too, because, we love the hat trick yarns and it's hockey season.
I know, it couldn't be at a better time. They've just launched the hockey and the football yarns, the colorways. So now we can get back hat trick on our needles and start making some great things there too. We've got a line of patterning. Did you want to show some of it?
Yeah, yeah. I have a few things here that I brought to show. One is on the mannequin here. This is the hot shawl, which is a pattern designed by Holly Yo, and it uses this is Los Angeles, but you can use whatever team color you want. You pair it up with a solid to bring out, a beautiful combination. And imagine wearing this to a hockey game, right? Wouldn't you be the most elegant hockey fan in the stands? But not only that, it's just a beautiful shawl design. So this is a triangular shawl that's worked from the top down. So it's a top down one, and you can use any variegated yarn in the middle here. We've done this in a number of different combinations. So this one's called the hot shawl. I also love this one. Do you know what this one's called, Barb?
Yeah, this sweater.
The sweater. Named
After
after that iconic book by Roche Carrier, I think. It's about, the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And anyway, this is another design by Holly Yo, a V-neck sweater made out of hat trick. This one is done in the Canada colorway with a black trim lining.
I love that.
Yeah, it's such a cute design. I
Yeah.
believe this pattern goes up to size 12 or age 12.
Right, which is really large because Holly's made this to fit like an oversized hockey jersey would. And so who knows, you might, the size 12 will, I'm sure, even fit an adult, but it's probably pretty easy to make it even bigger. I just want to share that I love the feather and fan pattern in that shawl. I always loved it. I think it's such a nice detailing to have in a triangular shawl.
Yeah, this feather, yes, I know it's one of your favorites. And you know what would be really nice too, I think, Barb, is if you did this shawl and held a strand of mohair along with it.
Mm.
That would make it really beautiful and cozy and warm as well.
And it would totally change the look of the variegation of the hat trick yarns, which, by the way, is a really big skein. You're going to get really long color repeats. It'll be great.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. There's another pattern that I love, and this is called the wraparound. It's a scarf pattern by our friend Stephanie Pearl McPhee, and she used garter stitch in all of these sections. They join as you go, so it's one long continuous scarf until you get to the middle, and then you do a second one, and the patterning's going to change as you do that. And then it's grafted together in the center. But this one is so much fun. One skein of hat trick makes a beautiful scarf. Or if you got, tired and you didn't want to do a whole scarf, you could do a Barb version, which has, Barb has just made this one and she just sewed it together early, right, to
Yes.
create a cowl.
Yeah. And I think I might have used a looser, like a bigger needle to knit it too, because I can see it's pooled and this is the glory of variegated yarn. You're going to get all these different looks every time you change your stitch size, number, or your needle gauge.
That's right. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with taking a scarf that, you just kind of burned out on and just sewing it together to make a cowl, right?
Yeah, I love that big pooling section, Cynthia. That turned out so nice.
Yeah. I mean, you might have
Other
started
side-
this as an experiment in color pooling and hand painted yarns.
What does the other side look like? No, sorry, the inside.
Oh,
Oh,
there's,
yeah.
wait a minute. There's the inside.
So both are garter.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, that's sort of the thing about garter stitch, right?
Yes, yeah. I was thinking maybe I did it in stockinette in that section. I didn't remember.
And then we have another really fun hat pattern by our friend Lucy Neatbee from Nova Scotia. And this one's called the Breakaway Beanie.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is also done in hat trick. I believe this was either Ottawa or Calgary. But that Lucy just loves to do different things. So this hat brim has linen stitch in it, which brings the strands of yarn forward a little bit to create a different kind of pattern. She separated the sections with a little bit of I-cord. So now you can see how the colors were kind of dyed on the skein, what the color combinations are. And then for the brim of the hat, she's alternated stocking stitch and garter stitch, or is it reverse? No, stocking stitch and reverse stocking stitch to create a different kind of textured pattern along the top. So I love this hat. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great beanie to wear in the wintertime. Just kind of hugs your head and fits perfectly. So
Didn't you
this is the
uh,
Breakaway Beanie by Lucy Neatbee.
didn't you wear that out to Elk Island Park?
I might have. I might have. For sure. And then I did a little version of it, like a baby version of it in the colorway Boston.
Oh,
Boston has, so on the smaller version, and again, it's a different colorway, you can see how in the I-cord the colors really changed. But look how it pops in that linen stitch here on the brim.
well,
She's so
and
clever.
look at the linen stitch. You can really see it in
Hmm.
this colorway in Boston because it's primarily just three colors, white and black and yellow. Wow, it looks great.
And what else? One more I've got here. Well, no, two more. There are more hat trick
I can
projects, but we just wanted to talk about the ones that were kind of timely for gift giving, right? Something that you could do in a short amount of time. So I'm now putting on a pair of Lucky Mittens by Fiona Ellis. And these are done in Hat Trick Vancouver. And these mittens include a little pocket here on the one mitten that you can undo. And you can put your lucky loonie in there or your bus token. I know we don't use bus tokens anymore. We just use our phones and apps on our phones. But, go rock it old school and put a coin in there for good luck when you go outside. You never know when you're going to need something like that.
And then if you're really into it, look up the Edmonton Oilers hockey team and the lucky coin, because there's a whole backstory about a coin getting buried in the ice for good luck.
I think it might have been during an Olympic match, so it might have been Team Canada, not the Oilers. I don't know.
It was the guy who cleaned the ice for the Oilers who did it.
Okay.
Missionary said.
And then, like the heavenly mittens that we talked about before, Ann Bud also did a pair of shinny mitts for us. And this is the same idea as the ones that I showed you earlier, in that there is a lining. This one doesn't have the lace patterning on top, and it's done with, this one's done with Hat Trick Vancouver, plus a strand of mohair. And then we used a yarn called Rowan Finest for the inside, and that's been discontinued. But any fingering weight yarn will work nicely for the interior mitten of this one.
In fact, I was going to say, if you're going to Handmaiden's website to order that kit for the Heavenly Mittens, order an extra skein of alpaca merino. It's the most beautiful liner yarn for those mittens, and you can use them for both patterns.
Yeah, that's lovely. So we've got, some news about, where to buy the yarns that that we had all these exclusive designs for. So we want to invite you to visit our website, which is rivercityyarns.com, and take a look at our RCY original designs. If you're interested in hat trick patterns, there's a category for that. If you're interested in Eden patterns, there's a category for that. And we'll update our website to make sure that you know where to go to find these beautiful yarns. We do have a few classes coming up this month that I wanted to mention to Barb before we let people go off on our conversation and tour. One is Slip It, Float It, Tuck It with Bristol Ivy. That's coming up this week. And From the Top, Exploring Top-Down Shawls is another Bristol Ivy class that's coming up in the new year. The seats are starting to, dwindle down on these classes. So we want to encourage you to go over to the website and sign up before it's too late. We also have a Knitting as Mindfulness class going on with Fiona Ellis. The first class has already happened, but you can still sign up and get a copy of the recording for that one. She's going to be doing a session 2 and a session 3, and I got to tell you, Barb, this class just kind of blows your mind. It's a whole different concept about getting in touch with your knitting, and whether you're a new knitter or an experienced knitter. I can't tell you how much you're going to benefit from slowing it down and taking some time to reflect on your stitches and how they're formed. In the first session, we did an exercise where we closed our eyes and knit. And the reactions of people in the class were really kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it takes you out of your comfort zone, but in a safe way, and really helps you to understand what it is your hands are doing, and how to do it it helps you with fixing mistakes. It helps you with understanding tensions, and helps you to understand why you choose the kind of needles that you choose. It's really interesting.
And it takes the focus off oh, let me get this project finished, right? To let me enjoy this project. It's a whole different way of thinking of knitting. And I'm so grateful that Fiona's brought this to us in a group environment because you can get to see the effects of this on a group, which is very powerful.
It is. It is. And so there's 2 more sessions coming up, and I would encourage you to sign up for Knitting as Mindfulness. And again, if you want to catch the first session and you missed it, and there are no seats on the website, you just contact me, Cynthia at yarniversity.ca, and I'll get you set up with the class that you missed. No problem. Fiona's also coming back in December to do a class called Twisting with the Cable Girl. And if you want to get into cables, you need to take this class. She is such a good instructor. Oh, that's the other thing, Barb. The other night when she was doing Knitting as Mindfulness, Fiona taught us how to pick up a purl stitch, a dropped purl stitch. And someone
Yes.
in the class said, "Oh, I usually just turn my work around and fix it on the knit side." But the way that she showed us to fix a purl stitch is amazing. So if you want to learn some amazing cables or how to knit a cable in a very relaxed kind of way, Fiona has a beautiful voice. You should take Twisting with the Cable Girl with Fiona Ellis.
I know the technique that you're talking about, and you must be really quiet about it and let people learn it from Fiona because it's wonderful. And oh, that's so exciting. I'm glad she's coming and doing cables.
Yeah. And then we're gonna have Sarah Schira join us later this month for No Fun Like Gnome Fun, and then we've got Lucy Neatby coming back to do another class on the magic buttonhole and double bands. This class we held earlier in the month and it was sold out, so we put another class on in January, and so you have an opportunity to get in on that one if you haven't before. All of our instructors, Barb, I just have to say, we have made connections with some of the best teachers, I think,
Yes,
anywhere.
and brilliant minds, I have to add.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Bristol and yeah.
Yeah. So come and join us for some fun. We don't just do classes. We have make-alongs. We have a makers meetup that happens every Monday, and that's an open session for anyone who wants to join us. We have a lot of fun, and we want you to come out too.
And we just had Makers Meetup last night where Elaine from Texas talked about the twiddle mitts that she's making in support of Alzheimer's. And we're going to do a knit along on that in the new year. So if you're interested in community or want a group to work to knit with, if you don't have one, sign up for our newsletter and our YouTube channel. And Cynthia and I will share with you all of these things that are coming up. It's a great way to stay connected in something that you love to do.
That's right. And before we let you go, Barb, why don't you show us the cowl that you made from our last knit along?
Yeah. I just got this off the needle, Cynthia. This is your color work pattern. And I did it a little bit tighter when I got to the end. I think I was probably not so mindful and I was anxious to get finished. But this has to have a bath. I just haven't blocked it yet. I think it will block out really nicely.
I love your colors. I
Thank
love your
you. I
colors.
love the pattern. This was so much fun to knit. Here's the inside, and you can see how it's just as beautiful on the inside.
It sure is. I love your colors, and I love the fact that you kind of changed up the charts a little bit. You changed up the design. You made it your own.
Yeah, I didn't have enough yarn, so I just wanted to put one section of this in. So I put the little small section in the middle
Yeah.
and the X's and O's on the ends.
Ah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So these are the kinds of things that we get inspired to do during our makers meetup. Somebody will say, we should do a knit along on that. Or, when we do the Twiddle Muffs one, we're gonna do it as a knit along / crochet along / embellish along. we're going to encourage you to use your creativity to make these really wonderful gifts for people who are struggling with Alzheimer's and dementia. And so that's it for podcast on episode 83. Again, we want you to stay on, you can hit pause now, grab a cup of coffee, and join us for a lovely conversation with our friend Sarah Schira, and then for our tour of Longmont Yarn Shoppe with Gail. Gail gave us a lovely tour. Her shop is beautiful, and everything, friends, is online as well. All right. See you soon.
Bye.
All right, welcome. We are here, Barb. You and me are here
Yes.
with the Gnome Wizard.
Exactly.
We wanted to chat with you today, Sarah, because you're coming to do a workshop for us on No Fun Like Gnome Fun. And not only are you going to teach us how to knit gnomes and all the little things that go along with it, but there's kind of like an option with this class that people might not know about. So tell us a little bit, Sarah, about the class, how it works, and which gnome we're going to feature.
Yeah, so No Fun Like Gnome Fun is one of my patterns that has multiple patterns in it. It's kind of like it's a bonus pattern. So there are 3 gnomes in that pattern, and Noah is the one I like to use as a teaching gnome because he has I-cord arms, and I use I-cord as a way to get things small without being ridiculously fiddly. Like if someone were to tell me to cast on 4 stitches and divide to knit in the round, I would die a little bit, or I would just do I-cord until I couldn't do I-cord anymore because the stitch count had increased. So by doing I-cord arms to start with Noah, it actually gives us a perfect way to like already make our lives a little bit simpler when it comes to the small world of toys. Now, like gnomes are going to be, they're not going to be as easy as a worsted weight hat, right? So we're already kind of, I don't like the word fiddly, but they are small, and I do my very best to make them unfiddly. And the No Fun Like Gnome Fun pattern was actually designed because I was getting requests for people who wanted to make very small gnomes. And I thought I'd already done a pretty good job. My first pattern had 3 sizes, and there was a pretty small one, but people wanted smaller versions. And as I was playing around and trying to figure out how do I do that small without it really driving us all crazy, I also realized it was going to be the perfect teaching gnome. So Noah is fantastic because Noah comes in both a worsted weight size, which makes him like still small. Like that's not a big gnome, but if those who want the really small version get to do the fingering weight version, which is much smaller, and information about both is in the pattern. But I was trying to figure out, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great because Noah is a fantastic on-ramp. He has got a lot of the things in gnomes that I tend to do, minus a couple of things that other patterns have. And we talk about that in the class. And also all of my patterns have video tutorials for the steps I think you might get stuck on. But Noah is a really sweet charmer. The other pattern in Gnome Fun Like Gnome Fun is Naomi. And Naomi is a little more ball-shaped. She's got a little bit of a funky little hat. Her beard is knit side to side so that she gets a slightly different look to her garter beard. And she's also armless. So when I went on a crazy knitting jag one year and knit 25 of these for an advent calendar, it was Naomi that I did because I could bang out a Naomi per like Hallmark movie, basically. She was really simple. Noah, I can, like the whole class, we will knit a Noah and it will take us about 3 hours. Naomi is faster, but she teaches slightly fewer skills. So she's actually going to be the simpler option for you after you're done Noah. And the very last size in the No Fun Like Gnome Fun pattern is Niblet. And Niblet is so small that in the fingering weight size, he makes a really fantastic set of earrings.
Oh my gosh, that's cute.
So in the worsted weight size, he's just a little bit bigger, but he's really simple and really tiny, and was explicitly designed because as I was talking about Naomi to people online about like the pattern coming out, I went like this and I realized I desperately want an earring version of this pattern. And so I stopped. I didn't publish the pattern on the date I was going to. I quickly went and did Niblet, had my test knitters do it again, and then release the pattern. So that's why there are 3 sizes, is merely because I realized I needed gnome earrings.
Oh my gosh. So Sarah, this class, it's perfect for beginners. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, if you can knit and purl in the round, that's the key. Now, it is a smaller circumference, so 9-inch circulars, if that's your sock method, that method won't work for you, but it's perfect for DPNs or magic loop or the 2 circular method or flexi flips. All 3 of those methods work really, really well. It's really like, if you can knit in the round, you can make Noah, no problem. You might not make Noah in the 3 hours. You might at some point need to put your needles down and just watch through, but you guys do record the classes and give people the chance to go back and like rewatch. But I will finish Noah in the class. You will see things start to finish, and it is not a complex pattern. So we start with the arms just to teach I-cord, because the hat actually, we knit Noah from the top down. And so we start with a little tiny bit of I-cord so that we're not knitting 4 stitches in the round, because again, nobody needs that nonsense. Then we knit down, we do the little kind of like faux brim, change colors and finish Noah. We stuff Noah, and then we work on the beard. The nose is actually knit during the beard, and that means you have less sewing to do and there's less for you to get wrong. So I think because a lot of people love the look of toys and then they go to attach things and they get really sad because the toy they end up with doesn't look as cute as the designer's toy. And it's because it's all about the finishing. And so I try to make the finishing as obvious, as easy, and as integrated as possible. So this bobble nose is just knit straight into the beard. You don't have to figure out how to attach it, how it does, like, is it going off on a diagonal? No, it's going to be all together. And so, yeah, if you can knit in the round, you can finish Noah. Maybe not in the 3 hours, but definitely without a lot more fuss. It's really simple. And the other thing that you kind of hinted at, Cynthia, was that for this pre-December class, we've got a very festive option of Noah that I offer in classes called, well, basically Santa Noah. So Santa Noah is very similar to regular Noah. He's got a little bit of Naomi's body here, so it's a little rounder. And my Noah, for some reason, doesn't have arms. The Noah that I knit for the pictures for this Santa Noah, I think I gave it away. I think I saw there was a child and there was something, and it was like one of those, can I have it? And I said yes. And I knit this, but without the arms. And I'm like, this morning as I was gathering everything, I was really confused about this. But yes, we will have arms on our Santa Noah, because like I said, it's the perfect way to teach you a couple of the ways that we start. But whether you are knitting regular Noah, you'll need 3 colors. And that is true for Santa Noah. It's just choose different colors based on your whim. We will be using the directions for Santa Noah. So the body will have a bit more shaping than this one. And so the pattern will be slightly different, but you'll get that as part of the class. And then you'll also be getting access to the normal No Fun Like Gnome Fun pattern, which will have all 3 of the Naomi, Noah, and Niblet for you. So in addition to getting this, that we'll work on during the class.
Wow. So it's kind of like people are getting 4 patterns,
Yes.
the regular No Fun Like Gnome Fun with 3 gnomes, and then a Santa adaptation gnome on top of it all in your workshop pattern.
Yeah, and even if you didn't want the Santa version, this gnome knit in other colors just looks like a cute gnome with a belt. It's really the color choice that really changes this from being sort of like a regular Santa. So don't worry that just because we're changing things a little bit, that your version isn't going to be gnomey. It will still turn out very gnomey. It's just you'll have a slightly different color than Santa, and that'll change everything for you.
So, Sarah, here's a question for you. How many different versions have you seen Noah in? And how many sort of job functions as Noah had. We have a friend, Gwen, who has a rock and roll set of Noahs. And are you seeing that same sort of thing among your group?
One of the first knit-alongs we did, as we were wrapping up one of the first mystery gnomes, a lot of the gnomes come out as mysteries. And so we were having and it was one of the, I think not the first mystery knit-along for the gnome, but the second one. It was wrapping up and everyone was really sad that we weren't going to be sharing the energy and the creativity, because people modify my gnomes like already in the knit-alongs. And I decided, like, spur of the moment, right then and there, we had what I called a mod along, like a modify along. And as long as I could tell you started with one of my patterns, you could enter for prizes. And so right from the beginning, I have baked in like options and encouraged people to just go as wild and inventive as they want to. And so that's one of the things that's really actually kind of fun about the Imagine Landscapes Ravelry group, is how many people are like, I really want to do a chef. Does anyone have tips? And so they will help you see your artistic vision. So they would even say, like, you know, for a chef, you might want to start with this gnome as your basis and then play with this part. Or I've seen, there was one woman who did a year of gnomes where every month she picked a different artist, and each gnome she knit was inspired by a piece of art or something she knew about the artist. So it might have been like the gnome was done in fashion appropriate for the time, or in colors based on one of their most famous pieces, you know, like, and maybe made to look a little bit like the gnome was. It was that, I mean, people are extraordinarily creative. And I think that's one of the things that's so fun about gnomes, is because they are small. They're small canvases. And as soon as you've finished one, you kind of ask yourself, but what if I did it in green? But what if I changed it to a boucle yarn? And even if you're just swapping yarns in and out, it really encourages like this kind of Moorish creativity. And then if you start saying, but what if I decreased less quickly? I want a taller, longer hat. And what if I just kept increasing on the body or whatever? And it is something that, because it's low stakes, I think that's one of the best things about gnomes, frankly, is they are low stakes. If you try cabling on a sweater for your niece and it doesn't fit and it's wonky, it is a tragedy. But if you try cabling on a gnome and it's wonky, it's just gnomier, because wonkiness is gnominess. They're really low stakes. They're small and they don't have to fit anyone. So if they look a little off, it's actually great. So yeah, I see people modify, and then because of that, like I said, like, it's low stakes to modify. You know, it's not like, well, if I play around with designing my own hat, what if it doesn't fit me? Well, it's just a gnome. Like, it's just, you know, a couple grams of yarn usually, and if you have to rip it back, you just, you know, it's not hours and hours of your fall as you did your Christmas knitting.
It's sort of kind of like the one thing that binds so many different people and different personalities too, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like, it brings together groups of people who all have a love for gnomes, but have a totally different interest in what kind they make or what shape or what size.
Yeah, and even people that just like following patterns. I think that's a totally fantastic expression of creativity as well. The creative crux of knitting is sometimes just saying, I've seen this and I love it and I'd like to make it for myself. And the stitch by stitch creativity is really powerful. I really like helping people succeed. So I think that's one reason why I've really loved putting new techniques in gnomes. We've done a lot of really different techniques, and they don't require that they fit anybody, and therefore they're low stakes in terms of like experimenting with new techniques. So for instance, the very first, no, that wasn't the very first one. The second colorwork one we did was called Make Gnome Mistake. And I really wanted to encourage people that it was okay to make mistakes, even though the title was Make Gnome Mistake. And this is Gnocchi, and Gnocchi is a world famous chef. Her nose is a bit gnocchi-like, which is where she got her name from. But this pattern had a lot of people willing to take the plunge to do their first color work, because if it was wacky, if it was weird, it was just going to look more gnomey. And so this was a great one for people to try. The very first color work one we did was Gnome is where you hang your hat. And this one had all sorts of really fun techniques. And because he was a mystery, the very last clue everybody knit was actually this little sweater that they didn't know was coming. Like the gnome was kind of fully assembled, and then there was a little sweater. And I got emails from people afterwards saying, not only was this my very first color work, this was my first sweater ever. And gnomes are a little different than humans because they have no necks. They're just all shoulder and torso. So the proportions are a little different, but a top-down raglan for Nemo here is knit exactly the same as a top-down raglan for a human. So you've already got the basics, which was fantastic. And yeah, it's really experimental. Like a lot of things are sort of baked into it, but because, especially with the mystery aspect, I give you something to do and like there's nothing coming for 4 more days. And you're like, well, okay, I don't want to do that. And then day 2 comes around and you're like, yeah, but there's no clue for a few days. So I still don't want to do it, but maybe I'll watch the video. And by day 3, you're like, I'll just give it a try. And so for this one, for instance, the beard is actually knit all in one. And you're using a particular cast on and then a bind off to get a difference in tension so that these naturally just want to twirl, because the one side is really short and the one side is generous. And so there's like this mix match in tension. And so here you might have learned a new cast on for the beard. You might have played with color work. You've probably had to do something a little new in terms of putting stitches on holders, because when you do ear flaps, that's kind of the only way to do things. Might be your first tiny tassel. And I've even got a tutorial for how to do tassels on forks, because to do a very tiny tassel, you need a very tiny assistant. And so yeah, there's a fork tassel tutorial. And so you'll learn the basics of tassels, for instance. Other things.
I've done that one too, Sarah, and it's brilliant. So everyone has to buy your pattern that has the little fork tassel. It's so great.
Yeah, so and we just kind of keep playing around. I talked about how I-cord is really a great solution for knitting smaller things without having to knit, say, 6 stitches in the round. So I-cord is how we do both the arms and the little legs. And then we do, there's a couple of fun tricks in the feet to get the curly-toed boots. But stitch by stitch, it's not difficult. And if you just remember that each moment, like there's parts of this, I don't love striped I-cord, I'll be honest, but the look is so worth it. And even if you hate every moment of it, it's like 20 minutes because it's just gnome-sized I-cord. This beard, if you do this one, teaches you, well, same as this one, teaches you the value of dropping stitches. So you knit this one side to side, and then there's a couple stitches that you drop, and they self-fringe and turn into a really fantastic beard. I think there's I haven't actually counted it. This one might have a total of 30 stitches, maybe 60 stitches that you knit the whole thing in. So it's like one of the fastest beards possible. And you get this huge volume because when you drop a stitch, that whole loop goes and becomes a really generous sized fringe. So that was a really fun thing where we took I-cord and we just played with it a little bit more. And then again, we played with the self-fringing idea of drop stitches. And for people who are looking for a little bit of help in terms of scripted choose your own adventure kind of an approach things, I actually did the choose your gnome adventure pattern. And that one, I was juggling so many balls in the air, but that one I gave people 2 sizes, 3 weights of yarn. I think there were 5 hat options, 5 body options, 3 beard options, 2 arm options, 2 nose options. Is that everything? And you can see 3 of them behind me. So all 3 of these are the large size of Choose Your Gnome Adventure. One is knit with bulky yarn, one is knit with worsted weight yarn, and one is knit with fingering weight yarn. And they all sort of start with the same basic principle, but you're swapping in. Here we've got a garter texture. This one's garter and and stripes. They've got the fringe beard. They've got a sort of like a smooth-sided beard. If you want the small size of that one, it's still one of the larger gnomes I've got. But there were some that was sort of like just knit a plain hat. But then there were also like texture patterns and a few other things that sort of all went together. So this is a real mix and match. And if you knit Noah, you have got almost all the skills you need to also knit this gnome. I'm thinking it's Norbert, but no, that can't be right because Norbert is from another. I've now got so many gnomes that I'm losing my names. I have a database with all my gnome names and which pattern they were, and they've each got a little biography. So like this gnome, for instance, was an international gnome of mystery, because like why would you need so many disguises, right? It's because you're a spy. So I had a lot of fun with that one. And yeah, this is a neat way to buy one pattern and again get a lot of swapping in and out of. You can of course knit any gnome in worsted weight, but only some of my patterns actually tell you like what the gauge would be and how tall they'll end up being. So while you can just kind of swap yarn weights in and out, because a lot of people like knitting something a little bit fiddly on tiny yarn, on tiny needles, adds to the stress. So a lot of people will just do mine in DK weight or worsted weight. I just can't help them with finished size and yardage. But this pattern, I've got it all broken down for you. So if you know you want to knit the worsted weight size, like the smaller of the two sizes, I tell you exactly how much you need in terms of grams, so that it's even great for leftovers. Which is something that gnomes are actually really great for. I do tell you not just like you need 3 colors and 3 skeins of yarn. You don't need 3 skeins of yarn. You might only need like 3 times 10 grams, depending on the gnome. So I'm really specific because I know we want to know like, ooh, that super precious cashmere yarn that I use for socks for my mom. I've got this much left over. What can I do with it? Well, I want you to know if it'll make a full hat. I think that's really important information for someone.
That's super. So you've done so much work. You've done so many different patterns. You've had knit-alongs. What's coming up for you? Where's the future taking us in gnoming?
Oh, well, I have yet another secret mystery gnome coming up, and it's one of my favorite ones. It's the December gnome. So a couple of years ago, I had the idea that gnomes would probably make a really great fun, festive thing. I mean, they are so Santa adjacent. And even if you don't go full Santa with them, if you're not celebrating Christmas, there is something so wintry about them. And I decided I wanted to do an Advent style event with gnomes. And so the December gnomes are an enormous production on my end, and they are an enormous amount of fun. So the pre-sales for that start November 1st, and that you'll be looking for the Snow Matter What pattern. And the thing about these gnomes in December is you don't just get the pattern. You're getting daily emails, but daily to-do knitting is a lot for December. Most of us are really busy in December. So I wanted to send emails every day, but I didn't want to send knitting tasks. So I decided I was going to do storybooks. And so in addition to this, the pattern, I write a story for each of the December gnomes. And then I shoot like a picture book style set of photos using leftover Playmobil and plastic animals and Lego creatures and some things that my son has actually painted for me now that he's in his 20s. He's like helped me like take wooden houses and paint them. And then my dad and my mom helped me set up this whole photo shoot day where we shoot story pictures. And so you'll get like snippets of stories. And so the December storybook really flavors that event. And there's like, it's really fun for me to figure out how can I tell a story about a gnome I can't show you, right? Like if it's a mystery gnome, what is going on? It's a little weird. But this year I actually sat down and I wrote the story idea first so that I could really figure out like, how would this work so that I have the story and it's not just, so like in one of them, someone went missing and we spent like most of the book looking for that person because it's really easy to look for somebody and not show them. Right? Like that's a good narrative. But you also get free recipes and like knitting surprises and other goodies so that it's, like I said, it's a generous, playful, whimsical, like shot of love to the community from me to everybody. And I'm right in the middle of all of that. I'm writing the story. I'm working out the last details of the recipe. We made the recipe the other day, one of them, and we think maybe we need to add cayenne pepper this time. So I think I have to try it again.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, this sounds like so much fun. And it's obviously that you put so much of your own time and effort and heart and soul into this. This is just amazing. What a great way to spend your December.
Thank you. It's really important to me that the patterns I put into the world, like, help people have a happier day. I really think that not taking yourself too seriously as a knitter, at least occasionally, is important. We get real locked up as knitters. We're like, I can't buy any yarn until I've knit the next sweater, or until I've, used up X amount of my stash, and I have to make a hat for everyone for Christmas, and I can't do this, and oh, well, I'm not that kind of a knitter. And we're just like so task and like productivity and rules. And if every now and then I can convince somebody to stop and just be a little playful and remember that their free time should be maybe a little more adventurous or silly, or just make them smile, that makes me really, really happy. Yeah, like I said, I take myself really seriously. Right now, I'm in the middle of a 15-day sweater challenge. I've got 4 days left to finish the back. We'll see if I can do it. But in between that, I really want people to at least occasionally just remember that they love knitting and that they love being alive. And I think gnomes are a really great way to do that. Not take yourself too seriously. People often will rename the gnome. So I'll give each gnome a name and a little like biography. But by doing that, I think that's part of why people enjoy it, because they will rename it, and then they will give it their own backstory, and we'll like, well, yours was an internationally known, spy. Well, not internationally known, but on the down low. But mine is going to be like a teacher or a scuba diver or something. And that like even just writing your own little like 2-sentence biography is really fun. And I think there's just something really fantastic about people in December. People open themselves back up to the idea that you are worth gifts just because you're alive. Like, Santa's all about unconditional love. At least our generation, so we don't get cold anymore, right? and I think a lot of us sort of like that joy of anticipation, the joy of like baking some things and putting them away, but the smell's still in the house. And I think a lot of us really enjoy gift knitting and other things because of things, the way it opens us up again. And yeah, I really love that people have joined me with the gnoming. I honestly, when I first put out my first gnome, thought 12 people would knit the pattern. And then I would go on to endlessly knit gnomes, and I would be the only person as entranced.
Sarah, I participated in one of your MKALs, one of your December MKALs before, and I was really delighted to find that you actually published it in 2 languages. Are you going to do that again this year? Will you publish in? Yeah.
Yeah, it's English and German. I have a translator who helps me with the German. I do speak German, but you just the way like in English, speaking English and speaking knitter pattern is not the same thing. If you handed the average person a knitting pattern, they couldn't speak English the way knitters English is. So I have someone who helps me with the translations, just so I make sure that I'm getting it right. I'm willing to dive right in conversationally. Go for it. But yeah, writing something down forever and ever in German is a little tricky. And then I do try to have my patterns published in other languages where possible. And I am always kind of going back. And when I find someone who's willing to do some translation with me, I'll see how many they're willing to do. And all of a sudden you'll find there are 3 new Italian patterns or something like that. Yeah, I love it. I love how international the knit-alongs are. I make sure that I have, no matter what knit along it is in terms of the gnomes, I make sure I have dyers on as many continents as I can. So the next one has, and I do source Canada and the US separately. As all Canadians know, our shipping is wacky. And so I try to have Canadian sources, multiple Americans, because the Americans are really, they're a huge portion of the knitting market. And one dyer alone, I don't think could handle the enthusiasm of all the gnomers. I also have Europeans, people from the UK, because now that they're not in the EU, shipping is also wacky there. I usually get one or two from Australia and New Zealand. I'm always looking for new people. I'd love to have people in more like Asia proper, not just like Asia Pacific area. But yeah, I every gnome, I'm putting it out to at least getting the yarn in as many places as possible, because I think it's a great way to introduce yourself to new dyers. And a lot of people who never buy kits will buy gnome kits, because it's just like a few skeins of small skeins, like they're mini skeins. And it's a great way to like treat yourself and then also try a new dyer. I think anytime in the yarn business that we can lift other people up, I love saying like, have you seen this new dyer? Have you seen this other designer? Have you seen this yarn store? I love the way our industry like says, other people are fabulous. Have you seen them? They could be your friend too.
Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. We love having you come and teach for us. So I want to thank you for that, because I think sometimes people are, again, a little intimidated by, learning new things, and they enjoy kind of the camaraderie that we have in the workshops. And you are, very welcoming, very engaging, and you have a really good focus on your hands for the class, so everyone can knit along and ask questions and learn as you go. It's really a delightful way, and as you say, it's recorded, so you don't have to worry about keeping up. You can take breaks. You can even stop and stretch. We'll pop a break in there for everyone.
Yes.
hmm So it's a comfortable way to learn, and you can use stash if you want to. It's totally up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think it might be 5 grams, might be 8 grams for one of the colors. I think it's 5 grams. You really don't need to go shopping for this. But if you've got, let's say you've got another yarn that you'd like maybe you're looking at this and going, even in worsted, this is maybe a little too fiddly for me. I'd like to try this in bulky. Let's say people are thinking that. I'm fine with that. Here's my caveat. You're going to need different number of grams of yarn. So have a lot more than I put in the pattern. And then go down at least 2 needle sizes from what they suggest on the yarn band. Because stuffed toys, we don't want the stuffing showing through. We also don't want them so drapey that the things are a bit droopy, right? Drapey equals droopy when it comes to stuffed toys. So you want a firm enough fabric that the stuffing won't show through, and that it's got a little bit of heft before we even start stuffing it. And then of course you'll need more stuffing because your gnome will be bigger.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah, for visiting with us today and telling us about all the gnome things that are happening in your life. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you have a really good month, and we'll see you on Saturday, November 25th, for No Fun Like Gnome Fun with the Santa option, if you'd like to take it. And we're looking forward to it.
Thanks
And
so
we'll
much
see
for having me.
you. And we'll see you on November 1. I'm signing up for your MKAL.
Thank
No
you.
matter what.
No matter what, I'm in. Yeah, we're gonna have a hoot this time. Yeah, this story is gonna be gonna go in unexpected places, and I'm really excited about it.
Oh, thank you so much for giving us just the little hints and tidbits. I can hardly wait for more.
All
And I
right.
just want to say, I don't know if anyone has already taken classes with your setup with Yarniversity, but you two do a fantastic job of hosting classes. You manage questions really well. Like as a teacher, I've loved it, and I can tell from the way people are responding that you are really good at it from like the consumer student side of things. You guys are fantastic, and so if people haven't taken a class with you, this is a great one to get it on, but get on in on anything you guys are offering, because you guys put a lot of care and are really good at this.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That's lovely. We really appreciate it. We like you. We believe strongly in developing a sense of community with everything that we do. And so I really appreciate that that's a value that we all share. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, look, I can't wait to see everybody. We're going to have a great time.
You bet. All right. Take care, Sarah. Thanks so much for visiting with us today.
Can you believe it? We're here. How long have we dreamed about coming to Longmont Yarn Shoppe? This pretty much describes what's inside. We're going to show you right away all of this stuff and more, but look for the feeling behind this shop, because that's what this shop is all about. This feels like home. I feel like I've come home as a knitter. Here's the shop. Cynthia and I have walked in the back door, and this is our good friend, Gail.
Hello.
Gail, thank you so much
Oh my
for
gosh.
inviting us to your shop. This is so incredible. We
Thank
want to
you.
share this with as many people as will watch,
Okay.
because it's true. As soon as I walked in, I could feel it. It was like coming home, you know, and you've got all of these different things that you specialize in.
We do all kinds of crazy stuff here. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give us just a little bit of a tour
Sure.
of your shop?
I'd be happy to. So
Okay.
you guys came in our back door.
Yeah.
And this is a 1910 building. So the floors are creaking. They're authentic. It's an old building.
Look at these walls.
Yeah.
Well, this creates the ambience, doesn't it?
I do love the brick.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
It is nice. So this is our classroom space, and
You've got two huge tables. I
Right.
mean, you'd have enough. You could fit 20 people back here if you wanted.
we did. We
You're
had
so
like
lucky.
28 people here when Arn and Carlos came, so it was
28.
pretty cozy in here, but we did it.
So this room has seen lots of celebrities.
A few, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've been able to bring in Isabel Kramer and Arn and Carlos, and we almost had Romy Hill here until the pandemic, but yeah, local
She'll-
celebrities and
She'll come
famous. Yeah.
again. Yeah.
So, yeah, so you walked in our classroom.
Okay. And you've been here for how many years?
11 years.
11 years.
So-
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, working on number 12. So this is our kind of kitchen-y
Kitchen,
area.
yeah.
We didn't used to have a shipping department until 2020.
Yes.
You probably understand why. That
Yeah.
used to be our original cash wrap up front, but we switched it all around, and then
And now you do all your shipping and mailing of packages
Yep.
from this area.
we do. This is our,
Oh, I see cones of yarn. You don't see this very often.
well, we have
What
a
do you do with this?
pretty large group of people that are in the weaving discipline, and they love to come in here and get their shuttles, their
Mhm.
cone yarn, and then some of our machine knitters use some of this cone yarn as well. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you have? Because I know, it's hard to find cone yarn
Mhm.
sometimes. So is this for warps?
Warp or weft. This is Gist, and this Gist is the brand, and we
Okay.
carry 3 of their bases. We just brought in their silk.
Ooh.
We've got their mallow yarn, and then their beam, which is a 3-2 cotton, organic cotton.
Right. Okay. And so is this cotton?
Yes.
Okay. And this is silk.
That's silk. Yeah.
Oh, and what about down here?
That's more of the mallow cotton, and then this is the just 3-2 cotton called bean. Yeah.
So what's the difference between this one and that one?
This one has a bit of a slub. I can show you a sample of what was woven with the mallow, and this is just kind of a non-shiny,
matte,
organic cotton.
So what would you say would be some of the best things you could make with this?
A lot of kitchen linens out of this. Some of our crocheters buy it to crochet with because they like the organic cotton, so they'll make garments. And there are people that knit with this as well, like a fingering weight cotton.
Right.
So,
okay. Good. And then you've got all the looms and accessories, shuttles and things down here. And roving. Wow. Look at the tower.
This is our busy roving tree. This is my sister's roving. So my sister kind of got me in this boat in a way. She owns Wabi Sabi Farm in Wellington. So,
no way. Your sister owns Wabi Sabi Farm?
Yes.
I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yes.
So I used to be Wabi Sabi Farm Store, and she was Wabi Sabi, or is Wabi Sabi Farm. So we would go to alpaca shows, and
is that
I would
how
do
you
shows
started?
in Denver. Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I'd go to the Humphreys Mansion in December and do a Christmas show and sell my hand knit stuff and her yarn and roving. And
did you ever go to Minneapolis, like the fiber show there?
no, I stayed pretty local. I had 4 kids.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That kept me closer to home. But we would go to Colorado Springs and Castle Rock to different shows and up and down the Front Range. So she would have her animals and I would have their product, and my mom and dad were involved. My dad
Is she still doing this?
She is. I was talking to her on the phone this morning on my way over to picking you guys up and checking in. I'm like, I need more yarn and roving. So yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so need beautiful. Oh my gosh, Cynthia, this feels like an alpaca. Need more? Go here.
So what we do to try to make it easy for our customers is anything that's local, anything from Colorado is branded with this little local sticker, because we have a lot of people coming from DIA, like you guys did.
Yes.
And popping by on their way to Rocky Mountain National Park, and they want a souvenir. So
yeah,
it helps them.
Oh my gosh, you could just wear this around your neck just like this.
You're welcome to.
All right, let's keep going. I saw a little section in here. What have you got in here?
This is a bit of everything. These are our books for spinning and weaving. These are our cricket looms and our stands.
Oh, so you sell
yarn.
cricket shot.
Yep. Shocked is in Boulder, about 30 minutes away. So I'm fortunate that I can go over there and pick up our orders directly and talk to the staff.
You really are. Yeah.
So we have spinning equipment, their new quartet that they came out with about 1.5 years ago.
Oh.
And then this kind of blends into our roving area. So we do a lot with needle felting. We have 3 different teachers that do needle felting classes, and a lot of people that just love to needle felt. So they come in here and get their roving and their kits.
Oh, and I love the fact that you've got these little gnome kits. How fun is that?
Yeah. We actually do 2 Christmas classes the first Sunday or Saturday in December, where we teach needle felting at St. Nick. Used to just offer 1 on that Saturday, but it was always a wait list, so we've started offering 2 that day. It's just a good thing to do with your girlfriend or your daughter.
It's a wonderful thing to do. Yeah. That's the whole thing about this. It's so creative, right? And to be able to spend time with someone that you really love and come out of it making something, how special is that?
It's pretty darn good.
Gail, you've got buttons too. Tons of buttons.
We do have tons of buttons.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm coming back here to have a really good look later.
Some of the buttons we buy directly, and then some of the buttons, these all happen to be consignment buttons from a store in Niwot that closed a few years ago. And we just keep selling their buttons and sending my friend a check every quarter. Say, these are what the buttons that sold. So
that's beautiful.
There's some vintage stuff in there, and then this is another yarn store locally that closed, and I'm like, we could help you get your buttons into the hands of people that need them. So
yes,
that's what we do.
So not only are you working on bringing in your own products, you're also helping other people sell off their product.
Yeah, it seems a shame for these to be sitting in a storage bin when people
Doesn't it?
could be using them. So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny, one of our most popular things we sell is stickers.
Really?
Yeah, seldom that people leave without getting a sticker. So,
what do they put those on?
Water bottles, computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
Everything.
We just cut these in and we sold 5 of them in a couple of days.
A functional adult every day seems a bit excessive. I agree.
I don't know. We just like to have fun.
Oh,
we have local chocolate from Boulder. And
ooh, who makes this?
a really handsome guy named Brandon who owns Lift Chocolate.
Wow.
He's got a crew, but so this is Christiana and Rihanna.
Hi,
They're back here manning the fort. Looks
Love
like
your
they're
sweater.
sorting through
and
the
your
mail.
Scarf. Beautiful.
Sweetest thank you card from Dear Gail and Longmont Yarn Shop team, I just want you to know how grateful I am to have you as my local yarn shop. I enjoy your daily videos, visits to the shop, and chats with you when I am in the shop. Recently, I've won a raffle on National Yarn Day. Thank you. I can't wait to get the Luxe kit and knit the scarf. Thank you. You don't know what a difference you make. Jody.
Aww. We'll have to add that to our little board and share it with our staff. Yeah. Aw.
Isn't that nice?
It's pretty cool.
You see, you see the thing that you fill in your community?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see that almost every day, right?
We're really a community space. We happen to sell yarn. I used to be a nurse. People go, do you miss being a nurse? And I'm like, I feel like I'm nursing. I just have better drugs, right?
Nice. Do you wind for people too?
We do.
Nice. Yeah. Got a winding station?
We have this precious little machine that we try to take good care of because Dizzy Lizzie.
They're expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, when she's down sick or needing a reboot, getting her spa treatment, we all miss her.
And then you're back to this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cynthia's keeping me focused, Gail. Let's start here.
Okay, so our yarn. So we have our yarn organized by weight.
Oh, okay.
So this is bulky and super bulky. And again, if we have something that's local, we put the big local sticker so people hopefully make it easy for them. And then we go from the really thick stuff to the thin stuff. So we have lace weight yarn in this area.
That's a great idea. So you go from bulky to lace weight.
I don't know. It just happened to be how it happened one day.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And then this is all of our fingering weight yarn.
Wow. Do you carry some, I see a lot of hand dyed. Do you carry some local companies here that we could just talk about a little bit?
Probably one of our most popular yarns is Oxenometer by Theodore's Pearls. She's here in Longmont. She has been in Texas and still has a lot of connections in Texas. But Jennifer dyes this 4-ply fingering weight yarn that has amazing sheen and drape, and people love it.
It does. I haven't seen anything like that.
You can weave with it, you can knit with it, you can crochet with it.
And is it, oh, it's bamboo.
I'm sorry. Did I miss telling you that whole part?
Okay. That's
4-ply something. Yes.
4-ply bamboo in fingering weight. Oh.
So when we lost the Shibui line of one of our best-selling yarns was the Silk Cloud. We did a blind study of all the different silk mohair blends, and the staff and some of our customers felt the blind study, and we picked up this lace wing yarn.
What a great way to do that. You never really, know which one to pick, right? But a blind study, I love that.
Yeah. So that's the one that won. And then we carry some other lace mohairs, but that's our go-to.
I love that you've got this one too. This is such a nice yarn, isn't it? Kathmandu from Queensland.
Yeah.
Been around forever, but it's just such a great sweater yarn, don't you think?
It is. This is another local dyer. This is Hummingbird Moon. Michelle lives in Boulder and dyes in a studio here in Longmont.
Vivid colors.
Yeah, these, I'm going to show you her worsted weight. These don't really represent some of the colors that she has that are most popular, like Unicorn Farts is one of her colorways. And we'll take you over to the supermoon worsted and you can see more of the breadth. This is Allie Pate. She lives in Denver, and her wheelhouse is dyeing yarn inspired by cats, and she's actually expanded a little bit into dogs. But her company, Herd of Cats and Road Trip Sock Yarn. In this little mini set, these are minis dyed with inspired by the color of cat's eyes.
Aww.
And then
somebody in your family just got a cat. You might need to take one of those home. Look at that.
These are the different cats that inspired these colorways.
Oh,
isn't that cute?
That's very cute.
Yeah. So she also does larger skeins. She was our dyer for our 11th anniversary. So this is an example of a really sweet pointy-eared cat.
And you get the picture too.
You get the picture. This cat's name is Harley. So she gives 10% of her product sales to the Denver Dun Friends League, which we love supporting that.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Do you have a cat, Gail?
I have two.
Two?
They came from the farm.
Wow.
My sister said, come and get them before the wolves do. And
so you kind of rescued them.
Yeah. Okay, now we're in sport department. This is one of my favorite yarns that's non-local. It's the Fiber Company's Road to China Light.
Okay, is this cashmere?
It's a great blend. It's got camel, silk, and baby alpaca.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. This is the trunk show we have in right now.
Sport weight. Oh, you have a trunk show.
Yeah. Put this around your neck and feel how dreamy that is.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was wearing that Saturday. Anyway, it's like, okay, we're going to raid the box in the back that we haven't unpacked and shop out of the box.
Not just cashmere, but cashmere, yak, silk, camel. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And not heavy, like a nice hand. Feels light.
Very light. What's it like to knit with?
Oh, it's like knitting with butter.
Really?
That's not greasy. I made this cowl, and when I finished it, I was so sad that it ended because I wanted it to go on forever and ever.
Yeah. Oh, this is so cute. What pattern is this?
It's Alice by Antonia Shankland. But this is why we have tags. I knit this when we were in Scotland on the bus.
Did you?
So that was 2018, 2019, 2018. I don't know. A while ago.
When you're a yarn shop owner, you get to knit with fine yarns like this.
You do, in the name of sample creation.
That's just beautiful. I see another one here. You know, this is the other thing that's so great about coming to the LYS is you get all this inspiration. Yep. This is called the Milky Way cowl. Road to China Light. Oh boy.
That was knit by one of our great customers.
She sure did a nice job.
Didn't she?
Kind of marled, right?
Yeah. Has a nice little shadowy effect.
Gradient, kind of.
Supposed to look like the Milky Way, I guess.
Ah. Yeah, I thought that was the pattern. Sorry.
Yeah, Eileen knit this. Eileen's knit a lot of our samples. She's amazing.
The pattern was called the Milky Way cowl, and it's located on Fiberco's website and on Ravelry. Yeah. This is great. You have everything labeled.
This is kind of a fun one. This is a pattern I wrote. I haven't had time to write patterns, but when I was teaching at the rec center, I had to come up with patterns because I didn't know about Ravelry and I didn't want to violate any copyright rules. But this was in a, one of those pattern books. And so there's a few design elements, we'll call them, not mistakes. But this is using my sister's yarn, which that's why I was calling her. It's like, we don't have any of the natural colored sport weight yarn that you have.
Yeah.
So this is X-Man. 100% alpaca, and this is X-Man blended with silk, 20%, but a lot of people prefer the light colored. So that's what this is.
So she not only provides you with roving, but she provides you with yarn as well.
She does.
Does she have her own animals too?
Yeah, she has like a herd of 48 animals.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, she's pretty remarkable.
Do you ever do farm tours?
We have. Yeah, we have. Not recently, but not since before COVID, actually. So,
what about my husband would say if I said to him, honey, I think we should move to Colorado?
Bring him on. It'd be fun. So this is DK department. This is...
How many brands of yarn do you sell?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Because you have a lot.
We do. We try to, when we commit to a brand like Cowgirl Yarns, we brought her in and we're like, okay, we're not going to just have one of your things. We're going to have some DK. We're going to have some lace weight. We're going to bring in your kits. We're going to have your sock yarn. Because
you need a collection, don't you?
Yeah. And then that way, when you're writing a newsletter, you can kind of message to people what Cowgirl Blues is about. So
you even have Dando.
She's a doll.
Isn't she amazing?
Yeah. We're lucky.
Yumiko.
Yeah. I met her at Stitches West 5 years ago.
I met her at TNNA.
She's so sweet.
So lovely.
And her and John were managing this corner booth together. He was her cashier, and we chatted, and then I came back and bought a bunch of yarn, and then I'm like, do you wholesale? And I brought it to the store, and then I'm like, would you come and do Yarn Fest with us? And she did, and so it was pretty darn amazing to have her come to our store and help us. Yeah. So she's going to be back this year again for Yarn Fest.
Does she live in San Francisco?
Chandler, Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
So not that far, but still a ways.
Still a ways. Yeah. Well, it's about an hour and 20-minute flight from Phoenix. And then I pick her up at DIA and we go up I-25 to Loveland, and she helps us manage our booth. And we feature her because we're the only stockist in Colorado that I know of with Dando.
This looks like one of her designs.
This is? Yeah, this is cobblestone.
I recognize that one. Wow.
Yeah.
So she's got really neat yarn too. A lot of it is linen and based, right? She does a lot of finer yarns.
So she's had a few different yarns, but the solid 3 that we have right now that she has designed in Japan, she goes there quite often to work on her yarn and be with her family, is the Cotton Fine, which is a fingering weight. And then she has the Silk Plus, which is a DK weight, which is what this is made out of. And then she has the linen, which is a worsted weight. So
beautiful.
They're all amazing. So this is the Cotton Fine. This is called Smoke.
Isn't that incredible?
It's really beautiful.
Look at that. How pretty is that?
This is
that would be probably pretty fast to knit too, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think you could even make a mistake on that lace and nobody would know.
Yeah.
Breezy V is a popular one.
We had someone try knitting this on their knitting machine, Gail.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
That's smart.
Penny did Breezy V on her knitting machine.
Speaking of knitting machines, well, it looks like I've got a mannequin that's trying to be sleazy. This is
pretty too.
That is, what is that one called?
That almost looks
Wavelets? Like... Yeah, Wavelets.
Beautiful.
So
very lacy and love it.
Wavelets wants to be exposed.
Just the off the shoulder look, Gail.
There you go.
It's hot.
Cha cha cha. All right. So we are one of the locations downtown that puts up a Day of the Dead altar. Longmont has the largest Day of the Dead celebration in Colorado.
No way.
So last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago, we were hosting, along with a lot of other people, a booth where kids and adults were making God's eyes or ojos for Day of the Dead celebration. So this is our altar with our beloved.
You don't have to go to Mexico.
Nope.
Dead.
You can have it right here.
And what do we have here?
So we got into machine knitting just over a year ago. We'd had people come and talk to us about teaching, and I finally found the right people to come in and be our teachers. It's Nancy and Laura. They're Yarn Squirrel Knitting, and I'm a Luddite when it comes to machine knitting, but I'm learning. We had this in the back of the store, and we felt like if we really want to promote to people that we have machine knitting, we need to do something more than our every couple month demos in the front of the store. So we set this up in front, and we have a cupboard with a tablecloth with a sign to say, are you wondering what's under here? And ask a staff member to show you our knitting machine and how it works.
Oh,
so,
lovely. We're making a candy cane sweater?
Yes. For our tree out front that we're going to yarn bomb. So,
oh my gosh, look at this.
So this is our gauge swatch. We're doing 28 rows, alternating colors of some nice weather-resistant yarn. Hi, Matt, Mr. UPS guy. Do you want to do a couple passes on our knitting machine? Cameo. So, yeah, we discovered when we were doing some training the other day that a join got past us when we were making these into
I wonder
balls.
if we can fix that. We'll have to come back and look at that later.
I would welcome whatever you suggest. I laddered up pearl stitches on the stockinette side.
Oh yeah,
but there's a knot basically there that we're faced with.
You know, it's okay though, right? It's going to go on the tree.
Yeah, I think we're going to probably yarn bomb it with candy canes. And there's this thing called Random Acts of Crochet Kindness. One of our crochet community leaves these little packets around with random acts of crochet kindness, and people find them. So we're going to decorate our tree with those too.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this is our knitting machine demo / yarn bomb project. I've always dreamed of making that tree into a tall candy cane. So
this is the year.
This is the year. So
all right.
The Crochet Guild did a nice job of yarn bombing that last March, and we have a lot of people that have stopped by and taken their picture by it or taken pictures of it. But it's a little sad and tired and needs a refresh.
Yeah.
So this is our kit department. We have kits organized by blankets and little amigurumis and ponchos. This is another kit section of Theodora's Pearls. One of our super popular kits is this Starry Night. It's a shawl that has the, what's that technique called with the blocks of color?
Intarsha?
No, color blocking? You do something different when you're...
Space dyed.
Oh, you do short rows, like...
No, you get to the spot in the yarn where there's a large collection of a different color, and you do a different stitch.
Yarn overs.
Like a little flower stitch. Here.
We could make a lot of guesses about that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's stage fright. This is the technique.
Okay, so it's sort of like a star stitch. Isn't that pretty?
So my favorite color is blue, and then my favorite multi of Jennifer's is this
silvery gray.
Silver with a little flecks of orange and red in it.
So pretty.
She dyed that for me, and then I knit up this shawl. And then my little daughter Emma modeled it for me because I finished it when I was down there visiting her in Flagstaff. So I'm like, good job, Emma.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
She's wearing a pretty sweater too.
Yes, it's not hand knit, but
this has real nice weight to it.
Oh, this is the DK weight version of Oxenometer.
Ah, nice.
So space dyed is what this is called. Space dyed yarn.
I could probably spend like an hour just in this section, Gail.
Well, you can be here all day if you'd like. We'll have to go to lunch eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are our kits.
They're beautiful.
Thank you.
And you've got samples made of almost all these?
Almost all of them.
Wow.
Not 100%, but most of them. This is one of our local designers. His name is Donnie Harrington. On Ravelry, he's called Woolstache, and he worked here and also is one of our teachers. He teaches Knit Companion on Zoom. Steeking. He did a Lopi sweater knit along. And then we just take his designs and kit them up so that people can leave with a locally designed pattern.
Nice.
This is called Reflect the Mountain. And this is using our anniversary colors from year 9. So
pretty.
Yeah.
And it looks fairly simple too. It's just on the diagonal,
right?
A little bit of a lace. So nothing that you'd have to, pull your how-to handbooks out.
No.
Probably just, cast on and get going.
Exactly. So
that's lovely.
We're lucky to have as much talent as we do locally.
You are. The lucky folks of Longmont.
And now we're into the worsted. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was fun. I just got back from Ireland and I got to go to Donegal. I think I'm saying it right. Donegal. And I met Tristan at Donegal, who is one of the owners. His family has had this mill for many, many years, and he told me all about the mill and the story behind Soft Donegal and what they're doing. Yeah, it was incredible.
And now it's here in Colorado.
Yeah, we had it for a while, and I went there specifically to see what we could do about sourcing his yarn on combs. So we talked a bit about that, and there's no supplier in the United States that has his yarn on combs for weavers. So we're trying to figure out how we could pull that off.
Couldn't you cone it yourself?
I think I would just prefer it would be a labor thing. I mean, we can make this into a cake and run it through a knitting machine perhaps, or put it on a loom, but in a cone it would be so much more efficient to warp and weave with and put it on a boat shuttle. So
he's looking into that for you.
Well, he gave me some information, so now I'm looking into that. You know, one of those. We love Mountain Meadow Wool. They're up in Buffalo, Wyoming. Karen Hostetler
introduced me to them many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Where are they located?
Buffalo, Wyoming.
Wyoming.
It's about a 5-hour drive from here. And we've done 4 retreats now with them. We're going to do another one this spring. It was cool. This spring, we brought people from Pennsylvania out to go on the retreat with us. So,
wow.
It's good. Just want to show you real quick. This is more of Michelle's yarn. I think this is the...
so this is the colorful one you were talking
Fairy
about.
Mischief is this one. We might not have unicorn farts on hand.
Just the name alone. My daughter would love that.
Yeah.
Fairy Mischief.
Elf, Evil Stepmother, Haunted, Water Zodiac. Yeah. Actually, I don't know. We might have sold all of the colorways she dyed for the yarn crawl this summer.
Yeah.
Put a spell on you.
They're just beautiful, aren't they?
They're different, and they are beautiful.
Lovely.
Yeah, we're pretty much through the worsted department. We're into bags. Bags are big here.
Here's Sun Valley Fibers.
Oh, do you know George and Jeanette?
Yeah.
I love those guys.
We met them in Minneapolis at a fair. I think it was, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Knit over.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have beautiful, we carried some of theirs. I love this. Nice. Yeah. Do you carry anything other than the...
Where we have their merino cashmere nylon fingering.
Oh, okay. Lovely.
Very popular.
Yeah.
Our best-selling worsted is Rios.
You know, you can't go wrong with that, can you?
No.
I think that's beautiful, too. It's just the colors.
Well, this is Fibers of Life. I've been wanting to carry their bags for a while. They're artisan made in Nepal, fair trade. These are brand new in our store.
Oh, nice. You've got the tote. We used to have these too, and she's come out with some new designs.
Yeah, the funny thing was I was emailing her back and forth. I said, I think we're ready to bring you in. And she said, this is great. And guess what? I just moved to Boulder. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I get to pick up her stuff at her garage.
Wow.
So, yep.
Love it when that happens. Yeah, you've got some really neat cases with different pockets inside. Are these on your website too?
They are.
Fantastic.
Little kit zone here. We have a local maker, Colorado Aromatics, for lotions, and everybody needs their Lumos lights. And of course, Emma's yarn, her brother makes the Love and Leche. We have some of her kits too.
Nice. Yeah, it's important to keep your skin well hydrated.
Always.
Right?
Always. Yeah.
And lots of notions.
We do have notions. This is our crochet area here. We do. A lot of people enjoy the Toft yarns. We get kits from Earth for crochet. Hardy Craft is a new supplier we met at H&H in Chicago. This is a cute little cactus kit that they have.
Oh, that's so cute.
Even comes with a little pottery holders.
Oh.
I think you have to provide your own dirt, maybe. Oh, you don't need dirt or water. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, this was a really quick tour, Gail. Gail, what's this?
This is our mission or our manifesto that the staff and the customers and I wrote together about 6 or 7 years ago.
Nice. How did you come up with this? Because there's a lot of ideas and thoughts and feelings in this manifesto.
Yeah, we just asked people what was important to them about working at the yarn store and serving customers. We asked our customers what was important to them about their experience and how their experience was. And I spent time thinking about why did I even open a yarn store?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this is what we stand for and who we are. And
that's lovely. Is there one part of that that really resonates with you?
I think this is the middle one. Whatever your skills, however much you have learned or have yet still to learn, you matter and you're one of us and you belong. Ramping up our big campaign for warm things. We used to do it in March because it's the coldest, longest, wettest month of the year.
Right.
But some of our staff and community said, why are we waiting till March?
Yeah.
Why don't we start collecting in the fall? So we sell thermal socks for donation. People can buy these online.
Nice.
And we just
donate
track
them.
how many we sell. Sometimes people say, I really want these because my feet are cold, and we let them leave with them. But most of the time what we have is people paying for them, and then we distribute them to our 4 organizations that...
Sort of like the food bank for your feet.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then people bring in warm things that maybe are in really good condition still, but they no longer need them. Or a lot of people just make for the sake of making.
Yes.
They don't need all the hats. They don't need all the mittens.
Yeah.
So they're happy to
share with others.
Send it out in the universe. And then it's really cool because we hear our distributors, the people, boots on the ground, tell us, how people are given a hat or a scarf and like no one's ever given them something handmade, and it's emotional and
heartwarming. Yeah. And the world is a kinder place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a snuggle. So,
all right.
All right, we're at the end of our tour of Longmont Yarn Shop, Barb, and now it's time to say goodbye, everybody.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. We had so much fun. We love doing these podcasts. So if you love it too, subscribe. Let us know. Put something in the comments. We love to hear from you and connect with you. And we'll see you again in another month.
Take care, everyone.